Alright, well, we've had a couple of things arrive, so let's see if we can get back on track here. So the first thing that came was this special washer. And there you can see the washer part with its cutouts to go on these nubs. And that the rest of it is actually made as a nut. So that goes on like that, locks onto there, and then we use an 8mm bolt to bolt it on. Now fortunately, I ordered an 8mm bolt at the same time, or the one that fits, and I'm glad I did because it's got a small head on it. 8mm bolts would normally have a 12mm head on, and this has got a 10. So if I'd just used an ordinary bolt, there probably wouldn't have been enough room to get a socket in there. So once that's tightened on, you see this one here will take a large socket and you use that to turn the crank to time the engine. So let me tighten this up and then we'll see about doing the timing. Who was it made the comment about me bashing that with my hand? It's sort of poor man's impact wrench. Alright, now then, there's no mention in the book I have about the points gap. So it says to turn this anti-clockwise. So let's see what we get at maximum opening on each set. I suppose I should get a feeler gauge, shouldn't I? Hold on a second. Oh, by the way, to put things into context, in terms of the date, today's Saturday the 27th of April. And would you believe it, it's been snowing all day, and tomorrow, well, tomorrow night, it's only going to be 25 degrees. Fahrenheit, that is. Oh, it's less than 11. What I'm going to do is just, oh no, that, yeah, 11, I just checked that, is I'm going to see if I can find them all the same. 11, 7, there's 9. No. Well, these aren't very wide a gap, are they? There's 7. Alright, that one's 7. Whoa! That one's a lot more. Tell you what, let me go around, see what these all are, and I'll set them to about, I don't know, 12, something like that. Well, I'll see what the others are. I mean, you know, with the Lucas it would be 15 thou, but I don't know what these are. I'll look further into the book, see what it says. Oh, and I've got a book for the Kawasaki as well. I'll see if it mentions it in that. So let me come back. Well, I went round. 2 of them were set at 12 thou and that one there was set at 7. And as luck would have it, the book I have for the Kawasaki 4-cylinder was for electronic ignition, and I had a book for a Honda CB650 and that was electronic ignition. So what I've done is I've set them all at 12. That'll do to start with. Now for the ignition timing, it's like the Lucas plate on the twins. For some number 1 cylinder, you set it by moving the plate as a whole with these 3 screws. Then for number 2 and number 3 cylinder, you set it individually, or moving the little plate that the points are on. See, that one is on a plate like those two. So as I say, it's just the same as the Lucas. So it says in the book to use a test light to check when the point's open, but I don't have the battery on. It's off getting charged. So what we're going to do is the good old cigarette paper, but I don't have a cigarette paper, so instead I've just got a very, very thin piece of paper. And actually this is surprisingly accurate. So we'll do number 1 first. So there's number 2. I think number 1 is the next cylinder round. Yeah. So what we do, for those of you not old enough to have done this, is you open the points up and you stick your incredibly thin piece of paper in, and then you put some tension on it. And then you watch, and what should happen is when you come to the mark when the points are opening, this will slip out. So here it comes. Right on the mark. Alright, I'll let you into a secret. I already checked these. So the next one would be, it's actually number 3 cylinder, I think. So pop that in there, and same thing. Just put some pressure on. And here we're coming up. Yeah, number 3. There we go. So as I say, I've actually checked all 3, so we won't go into that. Right, so now everything's tightened up. I can put this outer cover on, and then we'll do something else. What will we do? Probably put the carburetors on. All right, let's see. Now the next thing we're going to put on are going to be the carburetors. I'm going to get the hairdryer out and warm these up to make them a little more pliable. But first of all, a small tale of woe. I finally decided, I think I paid $100, $80, something like that, for the full set of 3 carbs, which was silly. I should have known they wouldn't be much good. But anyway, I looked online and I found another set that had all been redone with new gaskets, and they looked really nice, all new screws. You can see everything's done. So I paid $300 for them. And when I got them, I don't know what he'd used to clean stuff, but all of the steel parts are rusting. So that was number 1. Then I noticed we were missing a screw down here. Well, we weren't missing a screw. The stud was snapped off in here. It really didn't want to come out. In the end, what I had to do was mill it out almost right back to the threads and then pick the thread out. So I got that fixed. Then in here, in this end, there's a little sprung ball as a détente for this, so that when you pull it, it stays there for half choke and there for full choke. That wasn't there. So when you pull this out, you let go of it, it just shot back in. And these here are out of the original carburetor because they're brass and they're grub screws just slotted. He'd over tightened them so much he'd snapped the tops off the slots. So I mean, apart from that, they're fine. But you know, if you're going to ask basically top dollar, they were such really shoddy things. So anyway, fortunately, as the other ones, I was able to get bits off and swap them over and get everything done right. So let me heat these up and then we'll put the carbs on. Alright, they should be warmed up a good bit. I've squirted a little WD-40 on these. The hell's that? Oh, catching on that. Alright. Two. There we go. Oh, almost. Yep, there we go. Well, that was a lot easier than last time, wasn't it? Right, so there we have our carbs on, and I've suddenly realised I don't have the 3 slim clips, hose clips to go on there, so I can actually get them on afterwards. So we'll press on and put the airbox on and connect all that up. Now comes the airbox. So I've put some foam on for where the battery's going to go. So we'll put that in. A little jiggle, there it goes. Now then, we need to put these on, and I've quite surprised myself. I know these aren't identical. I've actually put left on that one, look. Whatever came over me. Hi. So that goes on there, that goes on there. And that's going to go on there like that. So what we'll tighten that up a little bit just to hold it in place. I know you like to see me struggle, so I should get a 1/4 inch socket and then it wouldn't slip off like the screwdriver does. That's all I need, a bit like that. Right, now I should have one around the other side ready. This one in here. Goes on there like that. Now, and of course, these are coming in at an angle, so it's not just a case of pushing them forward. That's that one. Just like putting it in this space here, it's one of those cases where there's just enough room to get everything on in between the frame tubes. Come on now. Fraction of an inch. Well, back out. Sorry if I'm getting in the way, but that's come up there now. That can go on that one. Can I get this over enough to get that one? And if I swivel it around, hang on, let me slacken this hose off a bit. I'll flex slightly, that one there. Now let me struggle on again and then I'll bring you back when I've got them on. Well, That was one of those jobs where if I'd have kept filming for another 10 seconds, I just went and it went, I heard it go pop, and it was on all three. So let me tighten these up and then we'll bolt it on. And for those of you who were worried about me putting bolts inside, as I mentioned, I've drilled them so when they're in I can put some split pins in through the bottom, and then even if they work loose they can't come out inside there. So let me fasten these hoses up and bolt this down. Do you remember when we were young, the newspapers used to have a little drawing in it, and it was a competition and there would be so many things in it that were wrong that you had to spot. So can you spot anything here? Got everything on, got it all done. I actually got everything on, got it all done, and then realised I hadn't put the fuel lines on, and they're right under there. So I had to take all this back off, put the fuel lines on, so they'll go up to the petrol tank. So anyway, it's all back on. Next thing we'll do is put the battery in, because that is easier to get at the wires, and then we'll put the top piece on, and then we've got to see if we're going to be lucky. Can you see this here? Yeah, that's the throttle cable, and it's so close to fitting. I don't really, the clutch cable I don't mind shortening because it's an ordinary barrel that goes on that end, but the throttle cable isn't. So, you know, that could have gone round there if it wasn't for the fact that there's a plate here. That could have gone round the back of that, and that would have been, those curves would have been all right. I'm hoping that this will just go up inside the tank enough for that. We shall see. But next, as I say, we'll put the battery on. So there's the battery compartment, for want of a better name already. Got foam on the two sides, and we've got a little rubber pad that it fits into. So I'll put that in, put those straps on that half you like and half you don't like, and then we'll put the top on. So that's that on. I'll tell you what, that was a struggle. Everything was awkward. I could barely get that in there, and anyway, next we put on this. Tell you this, there's next to no room for anything in here. Look at that now, that bloody earth wire's in the way. Okay. Da, da, da. Linda was asking me what I'd been doing the other day when I did this, and I sort of said, it's like getting a big bed into the bedroom. There's lots of room once you're in the bedroom, but getting it through the front door, up the stairs, onto the landing, round the corner, all that is not easy. So, as you see, when it's all in, there's space for everything. Just getting it in is the problem. Alright, let me take you around the other side, put a fuse in, and we'll spin the motor and see if we get sparks. Right, I've turned a couple of lights off. There we go, 3 nice sparks. Let me see if I can pump this up to get the... Yeah, the oil pressure light goes off. Alright, put the plugs in. Now I managed to route both the throttle cable and actually, when that goes through there, the clutch cable, without having to shorten them. fortunately, because particularly this one I didn't want to have to mess around with that. So we got those cables on. So the next thing is to just pop this on for now. There it is. There we go. So now like that. Now we'll need the pliers. Put the hoses on because of the clips. I like these clips, particularly when I'm using black rubber hose. I can also get these white marks off. I get all that done before we finished. Because I don't know if these taps are going to be alright yet. They seem to be. When you blow through them, they seal off alright. We won't know till we actually put some petrol in. So, goes up there, goes a bit higher actually. There we go. Let's put some petrol in. Do you have all this stupid stuff at home now with petrol containers? You can't just get one with a spout and a vent. They've all got these really complicated sort of safety ventless things. I don't like them at all. Is the petrol pissing out the bottom? Can't smell anything. I think that should be enough. Okay, one on. Two on. Right, let's let those fill up. Nerve-wracking, isn't it? Do. I've got to get a longer one of those. On the original bike, sort of from the photographs, two coils were located up here where I've got them, and one was behind, and I've got a feeling that used to go around here like that. But they have like a little resistor thing in the line, so I'll have to see about that, but we can't have that. That looks unsightly. I've got to at least take it round the back of there. So if I can just use an ordinary HT lead, we'll do that. We'll put some nice new ones on. Right, we'll put the choke on. Don't know how long that's going to take to fill those up, but doesn't seem to be anything leaking yet. Shall we give it a whirl? Come on, get some juice through there. Give it another minute or two. Now you see, I could have just got this running and then turned the camera on and said, let's try it. But hey, this is real life. Although I have one or two people who comment that must live in a perfect world, because it's always, you know, get a new hacksaw blade, get this, get that. Oh, come on. I might have to turn you off and fiddle. That's as dead as a doornail, isn't it? Wonder if there's actually any petrol getting through. Alright, I am going to switch it off because I'm going to slacken the drains on the carbs to make sure that there's fuel coming through. Alright, fuel in the carbs. In fact, the fuel lines are leaking on the bottom, which is an absolute pisser, because as we remember, the only way to get at them was to have the, well, everything off. All the battery's going to have to come out and all. So anyway, well, I think it runs. Let me slow it down a little bit on the idle there and start it again. Well, I took the tank off so I could get at the various adjustments, and I've sort of screwed out the throttle stop and what have you. And the engine stop works. Alright, time for a cup of tea. I've taken it down off the lift table, so bear with me here as we have a little walk around handheld. So there's a couple of small jobs to do. I've decided what I'm going to do with the these is I'm going to take them out, because I've got to take them out to put some oil in the forks yet. I'm going to nickel plate them so that we have a nice shiny piece there. See how our light works. There's my little oil warning light, which annoyingly, I don't know if I can keep you in focus, I must have twisted slightly as I was fitting it in, because the oil can sign that lights up is slightly skew with. Okay, so that's that. One thing I have found when it's on the center stand and the weight's off the wheel so the fork extends, is that, as you can see, the brake hose is a bit short, so I've ordered a longer one for that. This isn't very much in focus, is it? Let's hang on a second. There, that's a bit better. I could put you on autofocus, but then it makes funny noises and things. We're going to step back in a minute and look at it in total, but I just wanted to sort of come around. One thing I wanted to show you was down here. Do you remember that little metal thing that stuck up? Like a little arrowhead? Well, it's this nice rubber cover that goes on here for where the clutch cable goes in. It was really clever. It has a pocket that goes on that thing, and it has a little lip that fits round, even a little bobble there that goes in that hole to hold it all in. I did the plug leads, the high tension leads, because from what I read, the reason that extra resistor was there was for the electronic ignition. Apparently it protects the CDI box from sort of surges. So as this has got points ignition, I just replaced them with ordinary cable. I also worked on the saddle a bit. So now, as you see, it doesn't have that unsightly gap. It butts up nicely to there. Right, let's get you a pull back view. So there we are. I think we can, bar as I say, the one or two minor things, call this project finished. It's been a long time coming. I have enjoyed doing it, so I hope you've enjoyed watching. It was a real experiment because I wasn't sure if this engine would fit in. I wasn't sure if I could get the shaft to chain conversion done successfully, and of course we had some false starts, like the wrong forks or forks that we eventually didn't like, things like that. But everything seems to have come out well. I mean, we still have to take it out for a test ride, and I'll do a little video to show that, and a couple of last little things like that front brake stuff. But other than that, I'm pleased with the way it looks. I'm really pleased with the blue, and I don't know. I know I have a couple of sort of machine shop tools, but this really was built in a shed, and this is what I'm trying to do all the time. I don't want to just show you using me £1 million worth of stuff or sending things out and just assembling them. I want everybody to have a go at something, even if it's minor. But it's surprising what you can achieve if you just not only stick at it, but don't get put off by problems. There's generally a way around things. In fact, there's generally more than one way around things, as the comments show. I've really enjoyed the comments for this. I've learned a lot, because I've learned stuff about Japanese engines from people who know more about them than I do. But one of the things in the comments is people will often come up with other ways to have done things, probably the way they would have done it. And all it goes to prove is there's always several ways of doing things. So, don't get put off. All right, so that's it for this. We are going to go on to our next projects. We're going to start the Enfield Trials bike. We're going to start dismantling the Henderson engine, and I have a couple of other things in mind, but I won't mention them until we actually get close to being able to start them. So as I say, hope you've enjoyed watching this, and as always, go off and enjoy yourself, and we'll leave the last word to Frankenstein's monster.